Today is April the 4th, 2023. It is 5:31, and we start the Curriculum Committee meeting. I call this meeting to order. Now, public comment, Mr. Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. Medrano. Our next portion of the meeting is public comment. Before we begin, I would remind our audience members of the board's procedures for handling public comment. The public comment portion of our meeting is available to members of the public who wish to address any topic. Anyone who would like to speak during public comment must sign in prior to the start of the meeting and list the topics they want to discuss. Each public comment speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board for each topic. If more than 10 speakers are signed up to speak on the same topic, all additional speakers on that item shall be limited to 2 minutes. However, any public testimony speaker who requires a translator will receive up to 6 minutes to address the board. Please keep your comments or criticisms civil and courteous. Please avoid using profanity and refrain from making personal attacks on others during your opportunity to speak. Lastly, we ask that you do not discuss students who are not your own children. If a speaker is seeking board resolution of a specific complaint, that concern should be addressed through the district's grievance process. District policy DGBA has been established for addressing employee complaints. Policy FNG is the avenue for filing parent complaints, and policy GF addresses community member complaints. Grievance forms may be obtained at any campus administration office or at the district central administration offices. Thank you. Our first speaker tonight is Ben Longoria. Mr. Longoria, welcome.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here because a couple of weeks ago, somebody brought to my attention, we had a parent come in and we're talking about bullying. And at this point, bullying is my daughter got beat and the other person went to the hospital and so on, right? Well, at a certain point, if I get beat, for what reason or how can we stop that? I feel that the school district or the principals that were involved at BMA kind of lacked that, because I actually went and warned the staff there was a problem brewing. Not with my daughter, just that was brewing. So then the incident happens. So when the incident happens, someone goes to the hospital, right? This is serious. So that afternoon or the following day, I get a knock on my window and the principal comes up to me and tells me, Mr. Longoria, you're right. Well, we could have stopped that. And I feel at that point, the school let us down. So then at that point, 2-3 weeks later, the same incident, my daughter now is involved in the problem. The daughter that got beat went to the hospital, that the parents here speaking is saying my daughter's being bullied. Actually, that girl went and attacked my daughter. So at what point are we being the bully? And I just want to be upfront about that, because at a certain point, it needs to stop. And then I address the security. Security comes in. 4 months after this incident, I get a phone call this week and says, well, your papers are ready to file a motion against the person that attacked your daughter. All I'm doing is trying to protect 2 children from getting hurt. If my child does wrong, then she pays the price, either through law or physically, whatever it takes. But if their child does wrong, same effect. Law will come in and deal with the problem. Why did we take 4 months to do that? I think that's wrong. I mean, at a certain point, I mean, if the school's willing to deal with the problem right there, oh, you did wrong, I'm going to give you 15 days PRC. Why can't we deal with the problem immediately also? That, you know, that's my point. I mean, I would want a resolution to that, or at least an answer. You try to fix the problem, school says you come and I talk to the school board and I get pushed over to a certain person, and then I want to try and get a hold of the school board. I want to find out what's going on, and it goes dead. No phone calls, no answers. I can only speak to that person. You do a grievance and agreements with the principals. I come to the school board, do another grievance, and we're going to give your daughter 15 days PRC. No, you're not. So another grievance. Then they come back and say, we're going to give her 15 days on school detention. But she didn't cause the attack. At a certain point, we have a penal code. Penal code states that we have a legal right to defend ourselves to a certain extent. Extent meaning, pues, if they're going to kill you, you try to defend yourself. So why can't we deal with that? When I tried to talk to the school district, nobody listened. There's no penal code. We're the school. We're not going to listen. This is what happened, and this is what we're going to do. Then I sit with the principal, and we're having the discussion for the agreements, and she's
Mr.
telling.
Longoria, your time is up on that topic. You have
Okay.
3 minutes. Okay?
Okay.
Your next topic is fairness.
Fairness. All I wish and want for every student and every child and any person is that if I physically get into a fight, then both of us are going to go to PRC. But we can't make a decision, well, I got beat and I'm not going to have a consequence. Let her go. So the other child gets beat and you give him 15 days PRC, but yet the first child walked away with no detention, how can we be fair like that? How can we make a judgment? Why can't we have a committee that sits down and discusses this? Because you all are the board members. I could never get a hold of one of you. And I tried. And it went to deaf ears. After a certain point, it died. And my point is, why can't we set up a committee that actually sits there and sees what the problem is, instead of one principal or two saying, no, we'll do this, yeah. No, that's not the law. There's laws. And all I ask is for a resolution to fix the problem to be fair to all. Not just one, to all. If me and you fight, then we both pay the price. But if you hit me and I walk away and you still give me 15 days PRC, I have a problem. Does that make sense? I mean, I want a resolution to that. So that's all I got to say.
Okay, Mr. Longoria, thank you. Mary Maney up next. Ms. Maney, welcome.
Good evening, Board President, Superintendent, and Board Trustees. Tonight, I just had a couple of things that I wanted to mention that happened to be on the agenda for tonight. One is, thank you so much for putting up the stipend for those teachers that are doing the graduation requirement and retesters, where they're being pulled out and giving up part of their planning conference period to help our students pass to to the level they need to. It is greatly appreciated, and I just wanted to recognize the fact that, thank you for doing it. Thank you for listening when it was brought to you and deciding that that was an important matter to address. The second thing I wanted to address was BED local. I was reading the revisions, and I had a couple things that it would be nice to be clarified. One, you are talking about at regular board meetings and then at all other board meetings or special meetings. So is the committee meeting actually a special board, or is it under the regular board? Because you're limiting the topics that can be addressed under the two different situations. So I just wanted to see if you can make sure that's clear. The 5 items per meeting on the thing, that's reasonable. I mean, it really does. It really is a reasonable. The other question I had when I was looking at it is the possibility that if the board president needs to make it, he can be establishing an overall time limit for the public comment. Are we talking, because then it says no individual will begin in less than 1 minute per 1 minute to make comments, so that's regardless of what they're doing. I understand that. But when you're looking at that, are you talking like a 15, 20 minute, or is, do you have kind of an overall idea in mind? I do understand the need to make some of the changes because sometimes it does get a little long and you get lost trying to follow it. But, I do understand it. And I don't have a problem with that. It's just, as I said, I had a couple of questions that, just so that I know if I'm going to make a public comment, do I have to wait to a regular board meeting, or can I make it at a committee meeting, or just what it is? And then my third is my thank yous. And I really do want to praise our Joelle at Transportation. I just had a race this past weekend, And they changed the times on me twice. Joelle was managing to, since one of them was during a school day, was managing to work with me, get me drop off, pick up, and then come back and pick me up later, so that we didn't interrupt anybody's bus routes. But it's just one of these that the cooperation that I get with transportation when we are trying to set up these different type of events is very, very helpful. It's one of these, if I've got a question or I'm proposing, they're willing to help me make my decision. So it really is a helpful thing. On that same note, I really would like to put a really big thank you out to Melissa Fiscal, who is our secretary at the high school right now. She is covering a lot of positions. She is working, when you come up with a problem, she's willing to work with you and try to help you get into the right area. So it's one of these that it's a thankless job at the moment, and I just want to make sure that, you guys are aware that we do have staff out there that are covering 2-3 positions and not letting it down. I mean, they're going crazy, but they're getting it done. And then the last one is thank you for all of the people that showed up for the Meet the Candidate last week. It did help when we were looking at people coming in for the positions, what they had to say. There are some interesting things that can come out of it, particularly if we can get city council and school board to actually talk. There's some things that, but working together, proving that, we have that gold standards, we are a team, and we can work at it, is one of these incredible things that San Benito, the whole district here that I am so proud about, is that we are willing to work, and we do make it work. So again, as I said, I do want to say thank you for what you guys are doing. Thank you to our staff who haven't had a thank you in a long time, that are just going crazy trying to make it all happen. So thank you very much, and thank you for the time.
Thank you, Ms. Maney. Next speaker, we have Lori M. Hernandez. Ms. Hernandez, welcome.
Really quick, does the time start right now, or does it start when I start speaking? Okay, communication. Effective communication is essential, as it can affect work productivity and student success positively and negatively. Having open communication and maintaining good relationships is critical. Leads to success and ensures that everyone feels valued, and I hope you find it in your hearts to make communication part of your priorities when it entails our students. I have been a consecutive cheer mom since 2015, and I have 4 more years to go with my incoming freshmen. Probably the longest cheer mom that has been here consecutively. So when I voice a concern, I mean well. Cheer has been an incredibly high and ongoing issue for the past 4 years. When your cheer administrator took over the program, I feel that it's gone downhill even more so. If I have a concern, I go directly to the administrator, who can assist me further. Sadly, with this particular cheer administrator, my concerns are never vital to him, so I went a step further. My goal was to speak with you, Superintendent, on a heart-to-heart basis regarding concerns I want to bring forth regarding the cheerleading constitution before the tryout process took place. I attempted to contact you via telephone daily the entire week, but still you made absolutely no effort to return my call. It makes me feel that my voice, thoughts, and concerns were not of the essence to you. Cheer Trials is a vital day for participants. I wish you had taken a little time sometime throughout the week to hear my concerns. This may have made a difference in the livelihoods of our future cheer members, since this affects them psychologically, emotionally, mentally, and physically. Instead, you had Mr. Cantu, somebody who you just brought in a month ago, contact me because you were extremely busy, as he stated. But with respect, I do not need to speak to Mr. Cantu, who is the Director of Student Success for testing. My concern is not regarding testing, it is cheer. In comparison, and with all due respect, with the utmost respect, many have mixed emotions regarding the previous superintendent, and everybody is entitled to their own opinions, of course. We have all experienced different situations, but for me, the most critical of all is meeting the needs of the children and families, and this has always been a priority for him, in my eyes. Through my experience, and no offense to anyone, but he took the initiative to return phone calls promptly for different occasions for me. Zoom meetings with cheerleaders and families as well. That is amazing. However, superintendent and board president, nobody prioritized speaking with me, primarily due to our district and cheer members' humiliation in the past years, especially last year, which entailed the media. Regarding the humiliation our cheerleaders faced last year, Mr. Corona and Mr. Lopez, I never thanked you, but I greatly appreciate you attempting to make a student's, parent, and family concerns an agenda item. That showed me and the community, I am sure, that you had our students' needs and insights at heart, so thank you for that. Mr. Moreno, after our students poured their hearts out, you specified leave it at the campus level. However, students and parents attempted that
Ma'am,
level.
your time is up on that subject.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Go on to the next one. Your second topic is organization of the cheer constitution.
Correct. Organization of the Cheerleading Constitution. So my concern with this, I would like to know who approved this cheerleading constitution, because as we know, cheerleading constitution has been, like I said, it's been an ongoing issue for the past years. And that constitution is amended every year. And I get it, constitutions, I understand how vital it is for children, but constitutions are technically the Bible in cheerleading. Of course, we have one Bible above all, amen to that, but unfortunately, these amendments always take place. And I understand, and I firmly believe that constitutions must be amended to meet the needs of the children when done positively and fairly. But in this case, it's an ongoing issue. Another thing, which I believe, and I cannot understand, I can't wrap my head to understand who approved this constitution, especially for this year. Because a payment of $2,108 to be a cheerleader is ridiculous in my eyes. 2, JV. We removed a JV team, and I don't understand where our hearts are at with that. Do we not take into consideration how the JV members feel? Do we not take into consideration how that makes them feel? What is so vital? What is the difference between a varsity and a JV level? Why are we allowing only a varsity level? I'm sorry, but that is just on a whole different level. It makes it seem like our JV team is not important to anybody here. And it's safe to say, my daughters are, they're excellent in cheerleading. Thankfully, I have my daughter who just made the varsity cheer team. She made the captain position, but I'm here speaking on her behalf as well, because it breaks her heart to know that some of the members in the JV team aren't here, which I believe that is just something that we all need to take into consideration for the upcoming years. I hope that changes. Going back, that $2,108 to be a cheerleader, do we not take into consideration the estimated costs? Do we not take into consideration our attendance rate goes up? Our grades will excel. It keeps children off the street. We have so much talent out there, but you throw them a payment of this much monies and they're not able to afford that. There's a lot of different vendors. I understand we love varsity, but there's vendors out there who are cost efficient, so I think we really need to take that into consideration. Nonetheless, we are a Title I school, I believe. Title I school means low income. So our economy is not doing well right now. So I really do think we technically are still under a pandemic. So why are these decisions made? I can't wrap my head around to understand that. And then going back,
Time's
I'm
up,
sorry,
ma'am, on
with
that
the
one. It's okay.
placements.
It happens. Hold on just a second before you begin the next one.
This is a learning experience for me, so.
All right. Okay, your next topic, ma'am, fundraising?
Yes, my
Okay.
next topic is fundraising. Fundraising, high cost. Why are we allowing our San Benito program book fundraising monies to stay in the individual cheerleading's account for our children? That is one concern I have. We fundraise every year. The cheer sponsor allows a certain amount that she wants our cheerleaders to give. So if she wants a cheerleader to fundraise $1,000, a cheerleader is going to go and fundraise $1,000. Nonetheless, if a cheerleader fundraises $3,000, the additional $2,000 goes into a pot and dispersed among all the cheerleaders, which I don't think that's fair. If your sponsor is asking you to fundraise $1,000, you are already getting that $1,000. So I really do think that needs to be taken into consideration. Instead, like I stated, any additional funds from the amount required for the cheerleaders to raise must be placed into that cheerleading account and dispersed equally within the team for other items needed throughout the year. How is this right? Why should my monies from myself, my family, or my friends be split evenly? I am already raising the amount required for the school. According to your cheer assistant principal, if the parents disagree, we must only fundraise the required amount. How is this okay? Instead of helping families, we are hurting families. In the past, all additional monies raised remained in our cheerleading account and rolled over for the following tryout year. Now for the seniors, or if our child did not make the team, our additional monies would remain in the cheer account, which I must agree with. I voiced my concerns to the cheer administrator, but his result was, we will uphold the Constitution. Wow, I can't believe that. As an administrator, it would have been nice with positive feedback stating my thoughts and concerns were vital, or he would discuss it with higher end and get back to me, but another failed attempt when speaking with him, which I believe is wrong. I hope that everyone here wholeheartedly considers all aspects of my concerns and for the future and best interests of our San Benito CISD families. Many blame the cheer members and parents, but I firmly believe it begins with the coaches, administrators, and the superintendent, since you ultimately have the final say in the organization and agreement of the cheerleading constitution and in general. So again, when it comes to cheerleading, I believe it is vital. It is vital to meet the needs of every child. Nonetheless, like I stated, we need to take into consideration that we are a Title I school. Why are we not taking into consideration the feelings of these children? We know right now they're already affected, if it affected them emotionally. And I would like to know why that JV team
Time
was
is up on that
eliminated.
topic, ma'am.
My next topic,
Give me a second, please, real quick. Hold on. Okay, you may begin.
okay, my final topic is social media platforms and political tactics. As far as this is concerned, we all do know that there's an election coming up. And it's sad to say, like, my heart is all about children. I always take into consideration children. As board members, as a board president, you are the face of the board. So your title, I guess in other words, you must lead by example, in my opinion. You know, and when I go on social media platforms and I see all these postings of people sharing their thoughts, and we know they want the votes, like we know, but the community is seeing all that. They're seeing everybody, what everybody posts. And not too long ago, I believe 2 days ago, I saw a social media post coming from a school board president speaking ill of other board members, which I believe is inappropriate because we don't do things like that. That's why I said we lead by example. And I don't understand how we're not taking into consideration that we have children out there, children at our campuses who are watching you guys, watching you all. And it's so easy. I understand we do have control. We don't have control of what other people post, but we have control of what we keep on our page. So if somebody's speaking ill of another board member, my opinion is all we have to do is easily remove that post from our page. We are a board. We should be united. And you guys are the example. You guys are the ones that us parents and community members should seek to for advice, for support, for concerns. This is who we want on our board. We want a strong board, someone who takes that initiative to excel in what they do, somebody who's going to take our schools to the next level, somebody who's going to meet the needs of children and make them a top priority. And it is so heartbreaking to see all the posts that I do, because at the end of the day, we are affecting children. And this is what it's showing. I can't speak of anybody else. I can only speak from my experience of what I've seen. And I respect everybody. You know, I respect everybody's opinions and concerns. But again, most importantly, it's the children. It's the children. And all I ask, you know, as a community member, as a parent, is that we use our better judgment wholeheartedly, and really revamp everything that I've said here. I'm a little nervous speaking up here. It's been, you know, I kind of feel rushed, and I've tried. I've tried to speak to you all. I've sent everybody an email, and the sad part about this is that nobody responded to me. And I wish I would have gotten one response from either board president or superintendent, and it would have alleviated me from coming up here.
Okay.
But thank you
ma'am.
for your time, and I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Our next speaker is Lupita. Welcome.
Good evening, Board President, Board members, community. I'm here today because I have a couple of concerns as well. The first one is going to be on the STAR test. This is very vital to our students. This is one of the things that will reflect on them when they're going to the next level. I do remember when Dr. McGee, in the beginning, she was talking about the STAR test. There was an audit on that. I did review your webpage. It was very well. One of the things that did catch my eye was apparently that started from day one. We're April, and the STAR's already going to start. Now, you know, they should have started from day one. Now we're going to be pulling teachers out. When I told you all from the beginning, I want the students to excel to the next level. From the beginning, when I started coming here, my main concern was the students' curriculum. And now I hear that they're going to pull students out. Why are we pulling students out if the test is already going to be in a couple of months? Why would they do that if they already know the score, how the student is doing in class? They should have done it from the beginning. Who's at fault? It's not the student. Who would it be? Who's the curriculum CFO? Who's the superintendent? You don't get weekly reports, ma'am? Because this is very vital to our students, our community, when they go to college. This is what it is. And for them to be doing it right now, you had already had the audit, you did the presentation, which, like I said, Ms. McGee did a well job, but it's kind of late for them to be pushing out and implementing all this information into these students when they could have done it from the beginning. They could have been seeing where the student is, how are they doing, what are they failing on, what do they need. That's very vital. These students are very vital to this community. Our teachers as well. But when we don't have any leadership, when we don't have dedication, when we don't have transparency, when we don't have communication, what happens to that student? It falls back on that student, and that is sad to say. I want all these students to excel, and I had told you all from the beginning, and this is nothing new. But I do see, you know, like I say, you do have a CFO, curriculum. What happened? There's so many things I know that are going on in the district. But you as a superintendent, you need to lead an example. This is your school, and what I've seen is not going very well. There's been a lot of things that are going the way. You know, failing, safety, out of control, no leadership, no transparency.
Your time is up on that topic.
Thank you.
Hold on just 1 second, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you may move on to your next topic.
Yes, CFO curriculum. I am really enforcing the STAR test. I'm really enforcing the information on this curriculum CFO. It is so vital. I don't know if the board, you know, we all have different opinions, but if for the school, the CFO She's very important to the school district. When the scores come out, I want to see what kind of implementation did she do with our teachers. Because guess what? It trickles down. Superintendent, it trickles down. Curriculum to the teachers. Now, my other question is, do we have fully staffed teachers that are teaching for the STAR? Because I know for a fact they said that they had subs. We had a lot of subs. So if they have a substitute one day, but they're pulling out a student, but it's going to be a teacher, is it fair for that substitution, the substitute teacher? Is it fair for her to be all that week? But guess what? It's test time. I got to pull that student. But guess what? It's going to be a teacher now that she's on her conference. So who takes the credit? Is it fair for those substitute teachers? Is it really fair? They're there. They're teaching. But guess what? We're pulling out, and it has to be a teacher. And what about those substitutes? And from the beginning, we should have had fully staffed for these students, because guess what? Who's the one at the end that's going to fail? The student. We never think about the student. Oh, we need to think about, you know what? Let's go ahead and get these coordinators. Let's go ahead and get these directors. Let's go ahead and get all these individuals, but never think about the students. What are we lacking? Do we need a student over here? We need a teacher. We need these teachers to teach our students. That's one of the vital things, and that's what I'm fighting for now. Believe it or not, but it's very important. Very important for these teachers to be recognized, but also as well, not having them and not just saying, well, you know what, let's use a substitute. But then you get a teacher pulling it out, and guess what? What happens to that poor substitute? It's sad, but as well, some are going for their degrees, some are working very hard just like a teacher, but they won't get the credit. And like I say, it's really important when you hire directors like a CFO curriculum, I expect the fullest from that individual. Because you, superintendent, you're the one that also says, I know her, I worked with her. You worked with her in San Antonio ISD.
Your time is up on that.
Thank you.
You may begin your next topic, ma'am.
Test coordinator. Superintendent, the CFO curriculum, and you hired a test coordinator last month. This coordinator is for testing. So let me ask you, why would you hire a test coordinator already so late in the year, and the students are already going to test in April? Why would you do that? Why would you hire a test coordinator so late in the season? He's getting paid very well. But why would you do it? What was your justifications? If you knew from the audit in August, you should have done it from the beginning. If Dr. McGee needed help, but you didn't, did you? You hired him already. So let me ask you, what good is he going to do, this test assessment coordinator, for these individuals that they're already going to test? What good is it going to do? Because remember, this is taxpayers' money. And look what you did. You hired a test assessment coordinator already so late in season. Why would you do that? If you knew that the scores weren't that good, why did you do that, ma'am? Who are you helping? It's not the students. Again, it's too late in the season for him to be testing and giving out any kind of guidance, or if they need any kind of information for testing. Or maybe he would have had a workshop or what have you. He could have done something like that, but he didn't. So my question to you is, why did you hire him so late? I, as a stakeholder, I, as a taxpayer, and I, as a registered voter, would like to know. What was your justification? And then it was so sad, because then you said, I knew him. I worked with him. What does that make me think? What does that make me think? You know, there's favoritism. You can look at it like that, because guess what? I did. You were so calm and collective. Oh, but I knew him. I worked with him. So that's why. I can't wait to see the test scores. And I would like to know what kind of work he does. And especially saying that he's helping another coordinator and helping over here, which I was appalled to hear that he's taking calls now for you because you're busy. That's his job now? Your assistant? If that's what he's doing? That's what you're paying him for instead of testing?
Your time is up on that topic, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Safety. Safety is one of the number rules here. I've heard a lot of community members, and it's sad to say, bullying is horrible. But you know what? It starts with you all. It starts the way you act. It starts the way you look. Everything, you are pillars of the community. But when somebody says something, well, if he said it, why can't I? Example, board president, when they did the audit, you got so mad and you yelled at the community, public, and you said, we got screwed over. You got screwed over. What kind of individual would do that? I was appalled when I saw that. Why would you do that to us? Why would you do that to us when you came and asked, you know what? And truth, when you wanted to run, you came and you asked me, give me a chance. Give me a chance to better. I said, okay. When we want better, let's do it. It's okay. I wanted to better. We did. And what did you do? What did you do? And it's sad to say, but you know, hey, I'm talking about myself because I wanted that change. I wanted that change for the students. I wanted to change the community. And what do we get? You ended up going on a hiatus for an audit, this and that, and the students, forget the students, forget the staff, forget the supplies. That's what we got. You know, you got that insurance, you know, and now you're out there walking around like they're saying. You went to my sister's house. And it's sad, but the way you asked for her support, and I will say it, but you didn't even have the audacity to go to her funeral, her husband, and he worked vividly here for the school district and what you did. Dr. Cruz went, Mr. Medrano, Mr. Silva, Rudy Corona, and Mr. Lopez, thank you. But you couldn't go get your sincerest condolence. But you were there Saturday because you wanted a vote. What does that mean of a person? What kind of individual does that? Somebody's dying and you didn't have the audacity. But you had the audacity to go to my sister's house and ask for a vote. That tells you what kind of individual that a person is. That is sad. And I'm not mad because I'm very calm, but it's sad.
That-
Thank you, sir.
Okay, you may begin your next topic.
Audit. Again, the audit. You know, we didn't find anything. Of course, you wanted the audit. They gave you the audit. $250,000. $250,000. Did anybody go to jail for that? Did anybody get anything kind of saying reprimand for that? No. You wasted the taxpayers. Better yet, you wasted the students' money. Instead of these poor cheerleaders over here, they probably wouldn't have to pay anything. Maybe we could have got more security for bullying, for security guards. We could have used it in a lot of ways. We could have utilized it for the students. But no, you didn't want to. You went on, and I won't forget that day, sir, because I came and I signed in the paper. And it was before 5:30. I put it right there. Superintendent got off. She went that way. I was sitting right there. She didn't even get it. And you saw? You violated my rights right there. And you see, you're not even supposed to make any kind of remarks or anything like that, because I can see you. Because when you're up there, you have to respect the community. The way I respect you all the time, I respect everybody. But when it comes to talking and speaking calmly, in a rational way, that's what kind of person I am. And that's what I'm saying. That audit could have been utilized for the students, for their safety, for security, for more money for the security because of the bullying that they're having, for the cheerleaders. That's so expensive. They could have utilized this for, supplies for the kids. Some of the teachers said they didn't get anything. Nothing. And some of these households don't have money. You know very well they don't have money. That money could have been utilized for the students, period. If they need security, pay the security. But no, you didn't think about that. You thought more about what you can do, what you can find. And that wasn't right. In my eyes, that wasn't right. But that's something for the parents now to think about. They could have used it for something else. Plain and simple. Used it for something else. And it's a shame. It's very a shame. Because guess what? You need to remember, Board President, that is the taxpayers' money. That is not yours at all. That is our money. And we have the right to come and say, hey, you know what? They could have used it for something else. They could have. But guess what? We can't. Maybe we don't have enough money enough for security for bullying.
Your time is up on that topic, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
You may begin your next one.
Excuse me. I need to hear the thing because right now when you told me my time's up, then it went off. So if you can put it a little bit higher, thank you, sir.
I'm trying, ma'am. Go ahead.
Give me 1 second. No control. I came to the board meeting last week, and I was commentating, of course, giving my concerns. And we had the vice president in charge because you weren't here. And I was talking about, I spoke in English, and then I told the superintendent how many minutes I have, and so I started talking in English, in Spanish. Well, then she kind of jumps in, and not me asking her, she says, well, you know what? That's not for you because of the fact is, if you need a translator, it will be 6 minutes. And I said, you know what? I'm sorry. But you know what? You're not the superintendent. You're not the board president. But, it has to be the board president. Now, my question is, if you're not here, the vice president is the one that's in control. And he's the one that needs to take control, not the superintendent. Just because you're the superintendent, you still have to abide by the vice president because we don't have a board president, ma'am. And you need to know that. Because every time, what a coincidence, I come up here, either y'all deliberate against me, and that's fine. And what a coincidence, it's true. Every time that I come and speak, you've always said something, and which is fine. Every time. You've gone as far as saying, you know what, political, affiliated. You can go back to the video after I spoke, and you have said it. And I said, that's fine. But the kind of person that I am, this is who I am. And people know. I'm kind, I'm willing, and I'm concerned, and I will speak up. And that's who I am because you get through people more than yelling. Like my mom would say, you can get more bees with honey. Be nice, be courteous. But of course, cross at a board. It doesn't hurt for you to listen. And that's what I think. Every time that I come, I feel like, I'm talking or something, and either it doesn't it either disturbs you or something, but I see that there's no connection, then you know what? Then you as a board president, then you're not giving me my time, because that's what you're there as board members. You're there to hear the community. And that's what sometimes you don't do, sir. You know, and it's like I've noticed sometimes that I'll be speaking, like right now. He tells me time's up, and then I hear the thing go off. So why would he do that to me? You know, I'm hearing it. Y'all are there, you heard, and it's like, it makes me feel like he wants to cut me short. And I'm appalled to that. Because I heard the timer after he said that.
The phone's not working correctly, but your time is up.
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Your next topic, ma'am, you may begin. There it is, but
You
see,
see?
it's not
There it
working
goes.
correctly, but you can do it.
Yeah.
My phone's not working
Or
right.
maybe somebody else can help him. Do you all have a phone? Anybody has a phone? I'm just saying, what a coincidence again. But the community is seeing and hearing. I mean,
You may begin, I guess.
thank you.
Okay.
Leadership. Leadership. Where does it start, leadership? With yourselves. And let me tell you, as a board president, there's no leadership here. And I will tell you why. Because a lot of people see what you're doing and they might think, oh, well, we can do that. Again, you know, we have some principles that y'all moved. Y'all moved these principles, and guess what happened to these students? The students fail. And I will bring up a good school, and it's my school, Frank Roberts. How were they talking about that principal? How she was treating the students, how she was treating the staff. But what happens is the community doesn't know that she transferred. She was moved. She was moved by the superintendent. How do you think those kids feel? That was the only school from an F went to a C. You know, and I gotta give credit to the principals who were there before, Mr. Diaz and Ms. Leal. They had that close connection. And that's what happens when you have that unity, that bond with the students. It reflects on the school, on the students, the teaching. You know, the transparency, you talk to the parents. But you move that other principal, boss, we don't know who she is. You know, maybe she's never been in the principal, but she might have the degree. But guess what? They're having a hard time there. And she's not the only principal. You know, you have some principals that are really good. And you never, ever, ever seem to ask, hey, you're doing an awesome job. Those principals out there. You know, but then you have principals that will do whatever they want because, of course, you know them. You know, one of the principals, VMA, I'm not going to say her name, but it's VMA. She does, and whatever she doesn't listen to the parents. You had testimony right now. What kind of safety issues is there? What does she do to these students? What kind of a role model is she? Why do you want principals like that? It affects the students. It affects the staff. It affects the parents. As parents. And then for them to be having whatever issues, it's sad. Parents come to the concern over there and nothing gets addressed. And it's sad because guess what? Anguish, psychological, mentally, physically. All this affects the students. Y'all don't know that, but you know, it's sad. And you know, I told you, time? Insurance. But before we go real quick about the insurance, that's why I'm going to say it right now. I want a clock on the wall. We wouldn't be having this predicament right now of the phone not working. Are you telling me sometime and then it rings? But that, like I say, it's being transparent and it's being fair to us because it really would help us. Insurance. Insurance, we still have a problem with that insurance. Of course, one of my brother-in-laws got hurt Why would he had to pay the insurance if he got hurt at school? Why would he have to do that? That's no sense. I know of some people that their medications are super high, but that's the insurance y'all wanted. And just to let you know, this is the one that Bob Trevino was paying, of course, y'all's dinner. And of course, you said it wasn't quorum, but I say it was because I still want that if it was a conference in Brownsville that day. Because let me tell you, one of my family members is insurance for 8 months. Long-term insurance with Bob Trevino. This person had cancer. He was dying. He was dying. They asked for so much information. The adjuster from Bob Trevino. We need this, we need this, we need this. The person was in Houston, even getting information from the specialist, but Bob didn't want that. His insurance didn't want that. 8 months, 9 months, going without long-term, without that insurance, because guess what? They paid for it. Why didn't they want to give that long-term check? Going to Houston. How would he pay his meals? Let alone, he knows he's sick. The only one that's working. That would have helped his family. Can you imagine having a daughter here, having his family here, and his wife over there? How do you think you felt that insurance didn't want to pay? But he did want to pay for y'all's dinner, but he couldn't pay for somebody's long-term insurance, and that person was passing away. How sad is that? For Bob Trevino to pay y'all's dinner, but not pay where he needs to pay for a long-term insurance for somebody that was dying. For 9 months, fighting without insurance, all those medical bills, tumor, colon cancer. How do you think they felt? Oh, and by the way, by the time they said yes, oh, we can only give you partial. That's the insurance. Thank you.
This concludes our public comment for tonight. Mr. Medrano?
Thank you, Mr. Moreno. Item number 2, agenda items. 2.1, review and discussion of the memorandum of understanding between San Benito CISD and Neighbors in Needs of Services Incorporated Head Start Early Head Start Program for the 2023-2024 school year. Ms. Servillon.
Yes, sir, thank you. I'm going to ask Mrs. Cornett to come forward, as she's been the one helping us get this MOU together and expand our services for our students through Head Start. So, Mrs. Cornett?
Yes, good evening, Board President Moreno, members of the board, and Superintendent Servillon. We are very excited to be expanding our partnership with Niños Head Start for the upcoming school year. Specifically, what we're doing is looking at opening one up at Sullivan Environmental Science Academy. So that will have us at 4 campuses, La Encantada, Fred Booth, Frank Roberts, and Sullivan Environmental Science Academy. Also on MOU, you'll see reference there. The other thing that we're working on doing is participating and partnering with them with our ECSE class there at Sullivan Environmental Science Academy. So that means our students who are qualified for ECSE services, who also qualify for Head Start Pre-K 3 or Pre-K 4, will be able to, instead of just being there half a day, would qualify for full day service with the assistance of a Head Start person. That gives us an additional person in the classroom.
Any questions, board members? Agenda item.
Thank you.
Sorry,
I'm sorry.
one question, Ms. Cornett. So I was looking at the memorandum, and each campus has one classroom except for La Encantada that has a Head Start and the early Head Start?
Yes, last year we included, so at La Encantada, the Head Start is located in the outside building. The square footage of that outside building allowed to meet Head Start requirements. They were able to include the early Head Start. So we have there approximately 8 students that are between the ages of 18 to 36 months.
Oh, wow, that's
Yes.
great. Okay, that was just my question.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Agenda item.
Good evening.
Item 2.2, review and discussion of the instructional materials allotment and text certification for the 2023-2024 school year. Ms. Servillon.
Yes, sir, thank you. Here, Dr. McGee will be coming forward and walking us through our IMA funds for the 23-24 school year.
Good evening, Board President Moreno, Board of Trustees, and Superintendent Servillon. This document is a yearly document that must be submitted to the state in terms of our instructional materials allotment. It does go through, and we have to verify that the materials that we use, whether it be our primary materials or our supplemental materials, cover 100% of the TEKS for our core subject areas. In addition, you will see additional components for our phonics for ELA, and also that we have materials that meet the needs for our elementary students who need Spanish materials. Any questions?
Questions, board members? Agenda item.
Thank you.
Committee concerns. I have a committee concern that I want to address with the committee. And there's a text, and it says, Oscar, I just met with a new family that is registering 4 children in our district who were very rudely treated at 4 different campuses, at 4 different schools, elementary, middle school, and both high school campuses. This is unacceptable. They have been dealing with registering since 7:30 this morning, and they came to my office for an address verification. This is why we are losing kids to Idea Harlingen, Los Fresnos, and Rio Hondo. This needs to change. Very unprofessional on our campus. Are we doing professional service for these?
I'm not cognizant of that parent, and I haven't gotten any information. So it'd be very hard for me to answer about, so who's sending you the email?
I'll tell you later, but.
Okay.
But
Then
are we
I can-
are we doing technical training for the staff? I mean.
Yes,
I'm
everybody knows how to register. As a matter of fact, we've
I mean, they've
shortened the
been-
process for registration. So I don't know if they didn't have their documents or the correct
Okay.
documentation to register, and they're asking them to bring, because there are certain things we can give you 30 days to bring, and there are certain things we can't. You need to have them when you get there.
But they were approached rudely, and that shouldn't be happening in
Yes.
our districts. Can
That's
we
true.
train them?
They have had-
As soon as you pick up the phone, hello, this is Oscar. Well, it's friendliness.
We did actually have
that's
an
my
entire
deal.
training on phone etiquette, et cetera.
Okay.
Yes, but I will look into it.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And we also have our registration, our big registration event next Friday, where if there's any questions that any parent has, we can go ahead. There's an army of people to assist them on Friday.
Yes, we'll have it on the 14th as well, but either
Thank-
way, I'll look into that once you tell me.
I'll let you know. Would you know the campuses? I need to ask the campuses too and address the situation because this is uncalled for. It is uncalled for, so I'll let you know who told me.
You said the 2 high schools.
And the middle school and the elementary, yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna close the meeting at 6:29 PM.